Channel, we're going to do something different. I got a video here about why exclusives to stores are a necessary evil. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, back again on the channel. Today, we're doing something different. You guys know we usually do the fun stuff, the weekly purchases, the unboxings, the action figure hunts, the display tours. That's the fun side of collecting. That's what I want to spend my time on. That's what I want to dwell on. I don't like talking about this kind of stuff, but I think it's time. I've had enough people in my comments ask me. I see it all the time on social media. I mean, all the time. Twitter is full of it all the time as well. And it's about store exclusives and how we all hate them. And I hate store exclusives. You hate store exclusives. We all hate store exclusives. But guess what? In 2021, 2020, 2019, 2022, they are a necessary evil. And there is no stopping it. And they have to happen. And they don't have to, but they are. And they will. And there's no changing it. And I'm going to talk about this from a little different perspective, I guess, than maybe a lot of you guys that comment. I see a lot of comments out there, and we always talk about it on the channel. Got to put my business hat on, take a step back, think about the business. It is the toy business at the end of the day. It's a business. No different than the grocery business, the retail business, the food business, you name it. The businesses out there, they're all there for one reason, and that is to make money. Where they want to make as much money and turn as much profit as they can. So today I'm going to talk about store exclusives. I got a bunch of notes and talking points here on my iPad, so I'll look down to that to keep me on track best I can. I deal with this kind of stuff every single day in my real world job. So you might just say, hey, this is just Kyle, he's just giving his opinion and stuff, but I can give you my opinion based on 25 years in the retail game. And I have sat in the offices for Target. In Minneapolis. I have sat in the office down in Bentonville for Walmart dealing with store exclusives firsthand. I've done that as part of my regular job, and I've done it for regional retailers. I've done it many different ways. So I feel like I have a pretty informed opinion. Obviously, everything is there's 99.9% truth in mine. There's always things and variables that are different. But from my perspective, the way I see it and the way I have seen it over the last 25 years, I can't believe I've been working as for 25 years. It's ridiculous. I did start when I was 14. There's a little FYI there, but I'm over 25 years now. But this is what I've lived my whole life. For good or for bad, I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. But 25 years of experience and dealing firsthand with store exclusives. So let's talk all about store exclusives. You guys know store exclusives are exactly what they say they are. They are a G.I. Joe Cobra Island figure that only goes to Target. It's a Target store exclusive. You can't buy this exact figure at other retailers. As you guys probably know, maybe you don't, but I'm guessing you do. Competition for your dollar is at an all-time high in 2020, 2021, every year going forward. Competition is high. Target, Amazon, Walmart, mom and pop retailers, your local game store, your local comic book store, they all want a piece of your money. They want to find a way to get your dollar. And what drives traffic? What drives people through the door to get your dollar? Exclusives. What does Target, for example, what does the Target shopping experience differ from Walmart, Amazon, etc.? And that's where exclusives fall into. Competition at an all-time high. They want an exclusive. They want something that will bring you in there. So let's talk about exclusives. You talk about not just toys. We are all familiar with toy exclusives. We see them with Power Rangers. We see them with Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, wrestling. You name it, the list goes on and on. But take a big step back, like I always say. There's store exclusives everywhere in the store. There is millions of things in the grocery aisle alone. There's Frito-Lay exclusive items. There are bread, Sara Lee bread item exclusives. There's exclusive pack sizes. There's exclusive flavors. Think of Oreos. There's Walmart exclusive Oreos. There's Target exclusive Oreos. There's regional retailer exclusive Oreos. And that is to drive traffic to the store, drive buzz. But take out grocery. Think of hammers. For the longest time, what is it? Bob Vila, I think, had Craftsman tools, was a Sears thing, and that was the only place you could get Craftsman tools. I think they're opened up to everywhere now with Sears being the way they are. I believe Oprah Winfrey had a line at Target, Taylor Swift. All these people have had exclusive things to different retailers. And why? To drive traffic to the store. That's what they're there for. And our beloved toy section is absolutely no different. They're trying to drive people to the store. Retailers, I can tell you what else too. I see the comment all the time, I just want to spend my money at the store. And I totally get that. And guess what? The store wants your money, and Mattel, Hasbro, NECA, whoever, they want every penny of you as well. But there's reasons why this hasn't happened. And we'll go into that a little bit more. But, you know, one thing that just popped up and which turned me to really make this video was I got an email from Metallica. You guys know I'm a heavy metal guy. I love heavy metal. But I don't know if you guys know this. Metallica are releasing all of their LPs, their records, at Walmart as exclusives at Walmart. With the special colored vinyl or whatever you can only get at Walmart. Well, Metallica completists out there, Metallica vinyl junkies, hey, they're going to Walmart. They're going to go and get these. Blackened Records is Metallica's label. They own that now, and they've signed a deal with the biggest brick and mortar store in probably the world, definitely the United States. So that's a really interesting aspect there. It's not just toys, it is everywhere. So there you go. And I want to talk about sitting down with the buyer. So they want your money. They definitely want your money, and we'll get into that. But sitting down with the buyer. So I've sat in the buyer's office, like I said earlier, at Walmart and Target. And guess what? We want to believe that person that is in charge of buying toys for all of Target, all of Walmart, any retailer. We want to believe that they love toys, that they have a collection like you and me. They're in there, they're like, oh, I want this, I want that. That's not the case. I've single-handedly dealt with buyers before that all of a sudden this guy's a grocery buyer now. Oh, well, what were you doing before for the company? Well, I bought tires and I bought oil for the company. They move those desks around, and you know, it's a 1 in a million chance you actually get somebody on that desk that actually loves and breathes toys and really is in tune with what the real collectors, the vocal minority, are in tune to. So that's one thing. You got to take a step back there and realize these buyers, they're not toy heads. They don't remember all that kind of stuff. But let's say I'm sitting there with a buyer and I say, hey, Mr. Buyer, I want Mattel Elites in your store. I want 6 pegs. Now, you guys know Toys R Us closed down. That has really been a big part of this exclusive, and one of the reasons why we notice all these issues now. There's no Toys R Us. Toys R Us had huge toy aisles. You had 12 feet of wrestling figures. Now you got 2 feet of wrestling figures, if that, at a Target or a Walmart. You just got X amount of pegs. Space is hard to get. Space is expensive. But say you're sitting down with that Mattel buyer, or the Walmart buyer, and you're Mattel. Hey, I want all these wrestling figure. I want them on the pegs. I want them. They say, oh yeah, sure, wrestling figures sell very well, but if you want that many spaces, I'm going to need some exclusives from you. I'm going to need an exclusive line that only I can have at my Walmart stores. And then that's where Mattel says, ugh. But you know what? Walmart, they have the buying power. And unfortunately, it's a word that's used, and it's a saying that's been used for eternity, and it'll continue to be used for eternity. The customer's always right. Mattel sits back and says, okay, I have to give in to Walmart, because if I don't, all of a sudden I'm not on the pegs of the biggest retailer ever, or I only have 1 peg compared to 4. How am I going to get that elite line out? How am I going to grow that line? How are you going to grow that line? Well, okay, you give me an exclusive Royal Rumble set. We'll talk Target. Exclusive Royal Rumble Elites. I want a set, in twice a year, and I want this set, that set, different exclusives throughout the year. And if you give me that, guess what? You will get, instead of 2 pegs, we're going to give you 8 pegs. And you love those Ultimate Editions you've been pushing at me? I'll give you space for those too, if you give me those exclusive lines. Hey, great. Mattel says, okay, we'll do it. We're going to do it. We'll do an exclusive line for you. And here's what we're going to give you for that Royal Rumble set. We're going to give you a exclusive Dana Brooke. We're going to give you an exclusive Chad Gable, an exclusive Lindsay Dorado, and we'll give you those as exclusives. What do you think that Walmart buyer, Target buyer, whoever, what do you think they sit there and say when they have probably no experience in toys, most likely don't follow wrestling? They could be a 60-year-old guy that knows nothing about wrestling, or maybe was a wrestling fan in the Hulk Hogan heyday. What do you think he thinks when he says, oh, you're giving me exclusive Dana Brooke, Lindsay Dorado, and Chad Gable? What do you think that guy says? He says, I've never heard of any of those people. I don't want those. That's not going to drive customers to my store. What they want to hear is, I will give you that exclusive Stone Cold Steve Austin, an exclusive Ultimate Warrior, and then you throw in a Titus O'Neil or somebody else to just kind of flush the line out. But that Warrior and Stone Cold, that gives them, that the bells go off. They might not be a wrestling fan, but they've heard of The Rock. They've heard of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. And have you guys ever noticed in the Mattel Elite line, Stone Cold's never in the traditional line, Ultimate Warrior's never in the traditional line, Ric Flair's never in the traditional line. There's a lot of heavy hitters that their best figures, their best looking figures, are not in the traditional line. They're in a defining moments, an Ultimate Edition, a high price point figure, because they know people like us will pay that high price point. But they're in those store exclusive lines. They're in the Royal Rumble, the Legends set, stuff like that, because that buyer isn't going to take Chad Gable as an exclusive. He wants Stone Cold. He wants the Ultimate Warrior. That's the way that works. That's the way it's all funneled through. Think about it. We just recently got a stunning Steve Austin in the traditional Elite line because that means nothing to the Walmart buyer, the Target buyer, etc. So a lot of interesting stuff there. You gotta really put your business hat on, take a step back, and that's part of it. So there you go. So then we're talking like, why are exclusives so hard to find? And there's a lot of reasons for that. And I'm going to talk about a bunch of different points and stuff like that. But I already mentioned it earlier, but no Toys R Us. That has changed the game. There's all these exclusive products and more products, and Toys R Us sold a lot of product because there was a lot of room, a lot of space. It was a dedicated toy store. Walmart, Target, they don't have the rooms. They have decent toy aisles, but it's nothing like Toys R Us. And you go anywhere, the same kind of thing. It's like Sears going out of business. They had big tool sections. Walmart, Target don't have that. I mean, that's where the Home Depots, Lowe's, Menards of the world step up. But that's part of the problem. No Toys R Us. That eliminated a massive point of toys in the marketplace. That was the leader for toys. KB Toys closed. All the dedicated toy store, exclusive toy stores have closed. The buying power of Mattel and Hasbro isn't what it used to be. They used to say, okay, I can lose some at Walmart, but I'll gain it back tenfold in Toys R Us. Those days are gone. The toy companies, the Mattel, Hasbro's, NECA's, they don't have the cards to play like they used to with no Toys R Us. It's very difficult, very, very hard to deal with. So one big thing of why can't we find exclusives. Now this is one thing I haven't seen mentioned anywhere, but I'm seeing it in my everyday job, and we're not talking toys, we're talking everything. Short supply on stuff across the board. Obviously, a loaf of bread you're going to be able to find. It might be out for a day or two or whatever, but the lead times on bread's made quickly and turned quickly. It's a turn and burn item. Toys takes long time, comes from China. You guys know all that fun stuff, the distribution of it all. But COVID has been an interesting time for the toy hobby. As you guys are fully aware, prices of toys and collectibles, G.I. Joe, WWE, AEW, Marvel Legends, Star Wars, etc., 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 go on for days, are at an all-time high. How about baseball cards, football cards, cards in general? All-time high. People want these things. And why do they want them? They are stuck at home. They can't go on vacation. All that extra spending fun money for vacation can't go anywhere, so that money's staying home. They're getting stimulus checks. They're staying home with those. So there's a lot going on with that. There's money. People have disposable income. I know we hear a lot on the news and stuff that there's a lot of people that are, really struggling to make ends meet, looking for that next meal on the table. And there's definitely that. There's always that. There's always going to be that. But there's a lot of people, let's call it middle class and above, and those above middle class, they just got free money handed to them. And there was some that were getting extra unemployment, stuff like that. There was a lot of more money going around. And you're stuck at home, you can't travel, you can't do anything. What do? Maybe you're already a minor collector, a mild collector, an experienced collector, if I can call myself an experienced collector. And then there's people that are getting into the game. There's people that say, well, I'm stuck at home, I'm watching TV. What did I do before I went on vacation and traveled and stuff? You know what? I really like Ninja Turtles. And oh my gosh, they have these cool Ninja Turtles that throw back. Or, hey, I collected baseball cards back in the day. Now they have a new opportunity. They got disposable income. Bam, they're getting after that stuff. That's great. We love it when new collectors come to the marketplace, but we've never seen collectors in that amount of volume come to the store. The grocery side of stores, seeing the same thing. How many of you guys eat out for almost every meal, or at least once a day, or 5 times a week? All of a sudden that turned to people eating at home, making at home. The grocery stores are at an all-time high right now. It is crazy in the food industry, where the drive-up industry and the restaurant industry has had their struggles, varying degrees, as you can imagine. So the game has totally changed. And you say, Kyle, well, that's not that big a deal. What's the big deal with new collectors getting into the game? Well, like I said with food is made on a pretty consistent basis. There's a shelf life to food. Toys, there's no shelf life. And when buyers, toy companies, the stores get together, they have to forecast all this out, and they get production patterns. You know, G.I. Joe Cobra Island was a disaster this summer. An absolute disaster. People after the Cobra Trooper and stuff. But you know what? Those were agreed upon 6 months to a year ahead of time between Hasbro and Target at the office. We're going to make Cobra Island exclusives for you. That word doesn't get out to the collectors for a while. These are behind closed door meetings. And what happened was, okay, Target, if you guys really want exclusive Cobra Island, we have to make X amount to make this profitable on our end. If you want to do it, we'll make you, let's call it 10,000 units, and we'll make it for you. Target agreed to that. So that's what went out. I don't know the actual quantities, I'm just generalizing. That's what went out to the stores for Cobra Island. However, that was done 6 months before COVID even knew it was a thing. Nobody even heard the word COVID. Well, now all these figures are coming out, and you've got tenfold the amount of collectors that want to get into the game. G.I. Joe is a really new line. That Cobra Island was at the beginning. New lines, they start small. They don't go crazy. They don't put millions of product out on a new line because nobody knows. It's untapped potential. Nobody knows what's going on. What is it going to do? Is G.I. Joe going to resonate? They know there's a market for it, but how big is the market? Nobody knows. So when you're forecasting that Cobra Island, they're very laid back. They said, I'm not going crazy. I don't want to be hung on these. I don't want liabilities. And that's what Hasbro's saying. So you take that, which is already a small run on the G.I. Joe because it's untapped, and you want to create buzz. So it's untapped, and then you throw Cobra Island in there, and then you throw this huge herd of new collectors that never collected in the past. And then on top of that, people hearing, G.I. Joe, it's so hot, it's super hot, it's worth a ton of money. Now you got the Star Wars guy. There's a guy that only collects Star Wars, but he sees G.I. Joe on the shelf. Well, I'm going to buy this and flip it on eBay. There you go. There's an issue right there. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the future here in a couple of minutes. But that is a huge, huge deal with baseball cards. All this stuff is made way out. And it comes at a time when so many people are getting into collecting. That's why you're seeing shortages. And that's why the NECA Ninja Turtles were such anxiety-ridden for the longest time. Now, COVID's been a thing. We know what's going on. If you guys are collecting the NECA Ninja Turtle cartoon figures, you're seeing full cases of Krang, full cases of Splinter and Baxter, because they're figuring it out. Hey, there's more collectors out there. And there's going to come a time where they get burned and there's too much and those things go to clearance. But trust me, NECA, Hasbro, Mattel, Walmart, Target, they want every penny you have. They want to do anything they can get you in their doors, and exclusives are a huge, huge part of that. So there's some other issues too. Bad order forecasting. We talked about that with the Hasbro and the Cobra Island. The forecast wasn't right. But then there's even things that are traditionally, WWE Elite figures. We'll go back to those. Those have been around 10 years. They kind of know the ebbs and flows of those. But when you have new collectors come in, the forecast just didn't meet the demand. It's all about supply and demand. And that's why everybody's been complaining more. And at the end of the day, it's all the online people that are complaining. They're truly the minority collector out there are the online. We want to believe we're the heart and soul of collectors. We're not. That's who we're seeing complain. But we're not used to this degree of craziness and zaniness and all that kind of fun stuff. So the other thing is too, exclusives, talking about, clothing, food, whatever, it's driving people to the stores to buy something else. They're hoping you go in for that Cobra Island figure and you leave with a candy bar, a Mountain Dew, maybe a full cart full of groceries. And guess what? It doesn't hurt Target's feelings a whole lot. We want to think it's like the end of the world if we complain to Hasbro or Target that, hey, I came here, I couldn't find that. Well, guess what? There's stuff all over the store every day they can't find. And to the average Target employee, Cobra Island figure is no different than a woman's blouse, shampoo and conditioner. But you know what? There's more people that complain if they're out of that loaf of bread than there is the figure. And people are saying, oh, they're loss leaders. These toys are loss leaders. That's not the case at all. Toys have a 40 to 50% markup. They make good money on toys. They don't want to not sell toys, that's for sure. So it's very interesting. It drives the consumer to the store. Hopefully they'll pick up other stuff. That's part of the exclusive. Maybe you don't like Walmart. I'm a Target guy, Target only, but Taylor Swift has her new clothing line that, well, I love Taylor Swift. I'm going to Walmart. I'm going to buy that. Bam, they got you in the door, and most likely they're going to try to get you to buy other stuff in that store. It's just business 101. That's how it operates. So then the other thing is stores want low inventory. It's less of a risk. We saw that this holiday season. The stores were empty because toys are sold during the holidays. After that, there is a huge break and a huge lull. You want everything off the shelves during the holiday. Limited returns. Clearance aisles at Target and Walmart, they're one aisle right now. We've seen in years past, we got 4 or 5 aisles of clearance toys. Just absolutely ridiculous. And that is a huge liability for the stores. The profits aren't there, all that kind of stuff. So truly, the stores would love to sell all their toys the week of Christmas. If, hey, we know we missed some sales, I'd rather miss a few sales than have to have my employees tag everything down, reset, scan down, less profits, all that. So you got to remember, low inventory is less risk for the stores. The old days, you guys have probably been there. If you're a longtime collector like me, you remember the days of Toys R Us. You've probably seen pictures. Walls of toys, pegged out huge. Everything you could want at the end of the day. Retailers have got smart. That looks great. It looks awesome. I remember I had a store manager back when I was a little kid working in a store for the first time, cutting my teeth, and he would put his arm around me and say, Kyle, stack it high, watch it fly. That's how we do it. You stack a huge, big, impressive display, grabs people's attention, it moves through the door. Well, you can't leave that display up forever, and if you can't keep it packed out forever, then you get liability, you get credit issues, stuff like that. So the old days of big packed shelves are done. They are an inventory nightmare trying to keep track of inventory, and then you have dollars sitting on the floor that aren't moving. You want to be turning and burning as much product. You want less stuff in your warehouse. You know, it's no secret if you guys look in the business journals about Walmart, their back rooms used to be packed. I mean, the back rooms, some of these Walmarts had more product in the back room than the actual stores did. They always had that inventory. Guess what? You have 1 million stores, all that inventory in the back room. That's just wasted money. And now you go to a Walmart back room. I don't know if any of you guys are lucky enough to get to go to Walmart back rooms. There's hardly anything back there anymore. It is clean. It's turn and burn. Store, truck to shelf to the consumer. Not truck to the back room for a week, consumer. You take that out, you just freed up all kinds of money, all kinds of capital. And I don't care if you're talking Target, Walmart, specific retailers and companies like mine where I deal with this stuff every day. You want to turn and burn. You don't want inventory sitting around. I guarantee it. Let's see. Items are ordered well in advance, sometimes a year or more. We talked about that. Not enough products to do it. And then the minimum quantities. I touched on it a little bit, but everything has a minimum quantity order. I deal with that all the time. I had a major company, retail company in the Midwest that I deal with. They came to me. I want an exclusive item for all of my stores in my 8-state area. I want exclusives. Well, I can get you exclusives, but here's the deal. They say Walmart, Target, they got all these exclusive items. Well, you have X amount of stores. Walmart has 50 times that, if not more. So guess what? They have a bigger buying power. You can do more with that because you're not going to get as burned. So, hey, we'll make a limited quantity in every company. Mattel, Hasbro, they'll make limited quantities for everybody, but does the business make sense? Probably not. Hey, you got to sign up for X amount, one-way sale at this really kind of expensive price if you want an exclusive item like that. And so that's what really hurts some of these. But that's what it is for Target and Walmart. Hey, you have to sign up for X amount of units. That's just the way it works. The other thing that we should talk about stores is help is so hard to find. Walmart's, Targets, you could walk into any one of those right now, grab an application, sign it, fill it out, turn it in. You're probably called that afternoon to work. It's so hard to find people these days. And I don't care what retail place you are, it is so hard to find people. And that is one of the issues why we can't find our exclusives. Even if they come to the store, guess what? There's no employees to fill the shelves. The shelves aren't getting full as fast as they need to because they can't find people. And they're going to toys is important, but hey, I got liabilities in produce or dairy that have a set code date. I got to make sure those are turning and burning before I worry about G.I. Joe Cobra Island or Star Wars Black Series. That is one really big thing. And then you got COVID. We talked about it earlier. COVID, delays, factories going down across the board. I don't care what company you are, factories across the board are going down with COVID. COVID spreads in that factory, all of a sudden that factory is down for 2 weeks. at minimum. And that's what's going on. That's putting delays on tons of the toys we want, but not just toys, clothing, automotive supplies, you name it. Whenever you get a ton of people in close quarters like that with something like COVID, it's a bad recipe for disaster. And that's what we're seeing. And that's one of the reasons we haven't been able to find some of our toys. You know what another reason we can't find toys? There is stores out there where the employees are hip to the game. There are people that love toys, shockingly enough, that work at Target, Walmart, whoever. And guess what? They are taking some of the toys. They're not supposed to. They can be fired for that. I think a lot of rules are they have to be on the floor for 24 hours. But, you know, rules, I guess, are made to be broken. Who's to say that store director didn't do something like that? I've had it in the past where I worked for a major company. I'm touring, doing a visit of a Walmart store out of state. And I've had store employees come to me and said, hey, the store manager is taking stuff, thinking I'm like some big, can I wear a suit and tie walking around? They think I'm some, you know, magical retail man. No, I'm just Kyle that collects action figures. But I do wear a suit and tie from time to time. But they come to me with their problems of a store manager is taking all this stuff and he's selling it on eBay and stuff. I mean, it's crazy what goes on out there. So there's no question in my mind, not all stores, and some stores follow the rules, but there's instances out there where the stores are taking product. It's happening. There's no doubt in my mind that is happening. So then, if you can beat the store employees taking stuff, then you got to find the scalpers. There's scalpers in every single area. You guys know it. And I talked about the example earlier. Oh, I collect Star Wars and I scalp Star Wars, but I've heard online these G.I. Joe figures everybody wants. Well, he's in there scalping his Star Wars. He sees the G.I. Joe. He sees the wrestling. He's grabbing all the stuff, selling it on eBay. That's rough. And then there's collectors like you and me that want to help out our friends. Say we got a buddy in New York and he can't find Splinter and Baxter 2-pack. Guess what? Kyle, could you help me out? Could you help me out? I want to help collectors out. That makes a lot of sense, but we're also doing harm when we do that if you think about it. You're helping out somebody in New York, but you're taking something off the shelf in your town that a fellow collector probably wants. And every area has certain earmarks of product going to it. Now you're taking one from the Midwest and sending it to the East Coast. That's one less for somebody in the Midwest, if that makes sense. It's not terribly bad, but it is. That's what's stopping some of our collectors out there from getting it. You run into a full case of Cobra Troopers, you buy every single one, and you sell them to a buddy in New York City for him and his friends. You just took it out of the Midwest population. So I think that's something a lot of people don't think about a lot of the times. And so you got that. And then here's another one. The toy manager sucks at ordering. There are so many managers out there that are just incompetent. It goes back to the days of it's so hard to find people. And you take the scalpers, you take your store employees taking stuff. Then on top of it, you know, you got forecasts of what should be brought in. Your Target manager's lazy and he doesn't bring in any of the G.I. Joe Cobra Island or NECA Ninja Turtles, whatever it might be. Because he's inept at ordering, can't figure it out, missed ordering it, forgot to send the order, was sick that day, whatever the excuse is, so then another Target store gets extra figures. We all have a store in our area that has that issue where the toy department seems to never be stocked, but this one gets new stuff all the time. That manager's on top of it, doing his job correctly. This one, not so much. So you got all of that on there. And then you got the other issue is if you guys live out in the countries and you got small stores, you got distribution problems with small stores. Who do you think eats first? It's that $1 million a week Walmart compared to the one that does $250,000 a week. They're supplying that store, and that store is getting 15 trucks a week. The small town store that you guys have out there, and I've got some myself, they're getting 3 trucks a week maybe, and they're only getting toys once a week where the other one's getting toys every single day. So there's that mix. You got to be at a big time store to get a lot of opportunities and stuff. If you're out in the country, you might have a one and done chance. You might get 1 case of Elites and that's it, never to be seen again from that set. Where some of the bigger ones might get 2 or 3 cases. So that's another thing to take into account. And then you got those small stores that don't carry the amount that a big store does because it's half the size, so they don't have as big of a toy section. So you got all of that. So that's a little piece of it. I got a few other things. Let me take a break and get a drink as I'm rambling on. So let me grab a drink and I'll finish up the video. All right, I'm back. I got something to drink. I was going to choke up. Talking 30 minutes in a row. I do give a lot of speeches for my day job, talk in front of big audiences, all kinds of fun stuff like that. But usually I got water by my side that I'm sipping on as I go, but not today. So had to wet the old whistle, as some grandma out there would probably say. But as you guys can tell, I'm a little passionate about this stuff. I remember as a kid, my dad would always tell me after parent-teacher conferences, that Kyle, your teacher, always said, if you were just as passionate about your schoolwork as you were about wrestling and baseball and stuff like that, you know what, you'd be going places. And, well, I went a few places. I just don't know if I went the right places, but time will tell. My story is not done yet. But I get passionate about this kind of stuff because I'm a collector just like you guys. I'm trying to give you guys some of the knowledge that I have firsthand of dealing with these stores, these exclusives, all this fun, crazy game that we call, the toy industry. And yeah, I'm very close to that toy industry, so I totally understand, and I understand the frustrations you guys got out there. So then, why not a bigger pre-order system is probably the next question out there. Why can't, they order a ton more products? So then one thing, though, is orders are a mess. There's system issues, like anything, technology. Whenever you have issues, there's always problems. There's always problems that go wrong. There's always somewhere in the line of making them, shipping them, getting them to a warehouse, getting them onto a truck, getting the truck to the store, getting the store to the floor. There's always an issue. Inventories get off. I've seen that a million times, that Target says they have, 50 Black Series figures, and they have 0. There's none in the back. They can't find it. That toy manager needs to go in there and clear that to 0, or else you're never getting new product. They're not going to order. And if they aren't in tune to what's going on, and they're missing out, you're not going to get products. So there's so many issues that can happen. It's amazing that we get anything we want with all the issues. And I've seen every issue under the sun. Stores delivering to the wrong store. This guy's got a Walmart truck and he's supposed to deliver 3 Walmarts on it. He delivered them all to the 2 stores and forgot that 3rd one, and nobody knows where it went. Nobody has accountability. Stuff like that happens all the time. One thing I see a lot, and there's been a lot of discussion in the G.I. Joe forums, if you guys are out there, is why not go back to exclusives as the G.I. Joe Collectors Club, the figure subscription club? And it was awesome. I was a part of that from the beginning. You got 2 figures basically every single month. You paid, $400 twice a year, and you got these figures sent to you. That was a great club, but guess what? Such small units, such small levels of collecting. There is a niche for that, and I do think Mattel, Hasbro, and them, we're seeing a little of that with Hasbro Pulse. We're seeing Mattel starting to dip their toe back in after Matty Collectors went away for a while. There is a market for that, but I tell you what, those are going to be so small qualities. That's just a little piece of candy for us collectors out there. To truly make a difference, truly get the stuff we want, it has to go to the major stores, the major players. It goes back to organics. You guys have heard of organics foods. It's been big for the last, 20 years. Well, I shouldn't say it's been big. It's never been big. People think that it's big. They hear it's big. Organic's the new big thing. We do studies. All these companies do studies all the time. You sit down with a focus group of a mom and dad. Wouldn't you like to feed your kids the healthiest products, the organic, no preservatives, nothing? Guess what? Every single one of those parents and those panel committees and stuff, you know what they say? Oh, I want the healthiest stuff for my kids. I love my kids. I'm going to do that. That's what they say. It's really easy to say that in an interview, say that on a piece of paper. But you know what really says the most? If you say it with your wallet. And guess what? Organics are great. There is a niche for them. But nobody buys organics like they do the traditional stuff. It's just not going to happen. An organic Oreo, regular Oreo, you think an organic Oreo will ever outsell a regular Oreo? You're fooling yourself if you ever believe that. And organic stuff, guess what? It costs more. A loaf of bread's $3 more for the same size as regular. Yeah, I love my kids a lot, but you know what? I like that $3 every single week, adds up 52 weeks a year. Is it really that much different? Does it taste that much different? Does it really going to harm me that much different? That's what we deal with. People say they want this stuff all the time. That's like that G.I. Joe Club example. So I was a part of that club. I loved that club. I had a lot of great memories of that club. But people vote with their wallet. Just like the organic bread example, people aren't going to pay the money. If you say, okay, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, whatever you want to say, hey, you've got $400 if you want to be a part of this club. And we'll make X amount, and we need 5,000 people to sign up at $400. It sounds great, but how many of you guys would actually sign up for that? Would you guys actually sign on the dotted line? There's a lot of serious collectors out there, casual collectors that will, but will the majority be able to find $400 for this moment to meet this 2-week order window, to get their order in, and then it's going to be shipped a year later, 6 months later, 8 months later? There's not a lot of people that'll sign up for that. People vote with their wallet. People like to say, the collector community is a lot of the vocal minority. oh, I would do that, I would buy this, I would buy that. But then we prove time and time again that we won't do that. And how many order backers, Kickstarters out there that fail? Oh, I would love it. You know, Kyle, I would love it if you bought your own TV show and you had a little show and all this. And okay, but how many of you guys would actually pay me $1 a month, $2 a month, 4,000 subscribers, $2 a month? Would you guys all pay me that? No. You like watching the stuff for free, or, you know, you got to sit through an ad, maybe with YouTube or something like that. But the majority of you guys would not pay me a couple of dollars a month for my videos and stuff. It's just the way it is. You should, but the majority will not. That's just the way it goes. So it's an interesting thing. And like I keep saying, the online community is such the vocal minority. You know, we always hear a lot of stuff. Why not just make all of your exclusives for Hasbro for Big Bad Toy Store, or Dorkside Toys, or Ringside Collectibles? Why don't you just put all the wrestling exclusives to Ringside, all the Marvel to Big Bad Toy Store? That sounds awesome in theory, but then once again, you got to take that big step back. How many people know of Big Bad Toy Store, Ringside Collectibles, Dorkside Toys? They are niche stores that cater to certain fans. The vast majority that buys toys, guess what? It's grandpas and grandmas, aunts and uncles, and parents for birthdays, Easters, Christmases, Hanukkahs, all that kind of stuff. Are they going to go to Big Bad Toy Store? They might go to Amazon. That makes sense. Big Bad Toy Store, Ringside, love them to death. They're my two favorite places to buy toys from. Not the thrill of the hunt, but you can get what you want. You pre-order, you get your stuff. But to say, okay, all those G.I. Joe exclusives need to go to Big Bad Toy Store, it's never going to happen. They're not going to move the units. And guess what? Big Bad Toy Store, they aren't a Walmart. They aren't Target. They got one office building up in Wisconsin, one big warehouse. But if they have to order, 100,000 G.I. Joe Fireflies, can they get the word out for the G.I. Joe people? And then you're not going to have that just glancing people that walk up and down the aisle and pick stuff up just on a whim. How many times have you been in a store? You're here for that WWE figure, but you see that Jar Jar Binks or that Admiral Akbar, and you say, oh my gosh, I gotta have that. That doesn't happen. There's not a lot of impulse buying on these online things, so it's one and done. It's destination, going to get what I want, and it's tough to get people to impulse buy something else. So it sounds great in theory, but the base is so small for those niche companies. If you think Ringside Collectibles sells 90% of wrestling figures, you're crazy. I don't know what the actual percentage is. I would guess it's probably like 10%, if that, of all wrestling toys. The majority are gone through Amazon, Walmart, Target, local retailers. That's where the majority of all this stuff is bought. You're a hardcore collector. You buy from Big Bad Toy Store. You buy from Ringside. You buy from Dorkside. That's your world. That's not the world of a lot of people. My wife, that's not her world. She's not going to those places to buy stuff for my kids. She's I'm going to Walmart. I'm going to see what they got. That's how the majority feels, and we got to take a step back and remember that a lot. And then, the end of the day, kind of wrapping this up, it's been long-winded. I apologize. God bless you if you stayed through this whole thing. But at the end of the day, we got to remember, people will always complain. Nothing is ever perfect, and this is such a complex issue. I probably haven't even scratched the surface. I've probably forgotten a few things, but no matter how good it is, people will complain. There'll be somebody out there that'll find fault in it. That's just the way the human species is. It's the way thing is. Nothing's perfect to everybody. Things can always be improved. You should never rest on your laurels. Here's my little pro-life tip. Always be hungry. Always be chasing after that next goal. Don't get complacent and just do your job. Always try to move forward, move to that next step. That's what you got to do. Or else something's going to happen. You're going to get passed by. You're going to be like Toys R Us, unfortunately, or the million of the other places that closed because they didn't want to get with the times and change. And things are always changing, always evolving. We'll see more to this in the future. I'm hoping things get better on these exclusives. I do think once COVID stops, there's going to be that period where, oh my gosh, things are crazy. We need tons and tons of this stuff. And then all of a sudden, COVID's gone, or pretty much gone. And all of a sudden, holy cow, we got all this product coming. And now people are back to the real world where they don't have the money's a little tighter than it used to be without stimulus checks. Maybe I'm not collecting anymore. And I tell you what, you long game people out there that are collectors that are in this for life like myself, there's a lot of new people that have gotten to the collecting game in the last year. And you know what's going to happen once all COVID, everything gets back to normal? I was caught up in the Fury, the baseball cards. I was all caught up in all this. I don't need this. There are going to be some amazing deals as people unload their collections. You'll be able to get amazing prices on stuff as people don't have an attachment to it. They're not in this game all the time. That wave is coming. I don't know when. They're saying COVID should be in really good shape by basically the end of 2021, possibly. Nobody knows for sure. But I bet you anything, holidays 2021, money's tight, the vaccine's all out there. There's going to be people dumping collections left and right, trying to get money to pay for Christmas or anything else, or maybe they want to go on vacations again. And you'll be able to sweep up on some collections out there, and some high dollar things right now won't be so high dollar then. So put that in the back of your mind. I just want to put that little pro tip, as I like to do out there. And there's constant improvement, constant learnings. Mattel, Hasbro, Walmart, Target, my company, all companies, we're constantly trying to improve, get better, and get, guess what, more of your guys' money. So that's it. That's my long-winded speech, I guess we'll call it. We'll call it the great speech of 2021 about exclusives and why they happen from somebody that's dealt with it for 25 years. A little bit of rambling here and there, but just kind of off the cuff with a few notes. I'm sure I missed a few things. If you guys want to leave me a comment with any questions, hey, I'll answer from my perspective. I am not 100% expert on everything. A lot of this is day-to-day truth, but I'm sure there's some things that are a little different here and there and come and goes, but I think a lot of us don't live this industry, or we don't take that step back. We just want it, and we don't think about how it gets there. A lot of people want that steak, but they don't understand how that steak is gets to your table. That's the thing. That's what I think people forget with toys is no different than that steak. So there you have it. Like I said, a long-winded ramble. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, like it. If you want to comment, leave me a question. I'll try to answer. I'm pretty vocal about answering questions. I'll do it to the best of my ability and give you the best answer I can. And I'm sure I forgot something, and maybe will come up in some discussion as well. So besides that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're growing the channel every single day. Feel free to share this video if you think it's help anybody. If you got a buddy out there that doesn't understand the way this works, you can send it on to them if you want. But it's up to you guys. You guys do the plan. You write the rules. So for Kyle and for our favorite exclusives across the world, I'll see you guys all real soon.